Welcome to the forum. Day one, panel one, we have an incredible trio of presenters coming up. So I'll keep my comments brief, giving our panelists the floor, and then we'll come together for a conversation in a little bit. But first, this topic where health, taste, and integrity converge on the plate is such an exciting one because at the heart of it, health span can be influenced through our daily food decisions, but as we'll learn, we can do so while honoring the world around us at the same time. Each of our esteemed panelists today hold 3 Michelin stars, and 2 have been awarded a Green Star for their commitment to sustainable practices. They are pioneers in blending artistry and science into remarkable dining experiences that are quietly transforming the industry, the body, and the planet. Please help me welcome Richard Ekebus of Amber Hong Kong, Heinz Beck of La Pergola in Rome, and Norbert Niederkofler from his atelier in the Dolomites. How about another round of applause for these superstars? Gentlemen, welcome to the forum. Richard, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Okay, well, thank you. Good morning. My name is Richard Ekebus. I am the culinary director of Amber at the Mandarin Oriental, the landmark in Hong Kong. I'm honored to stand before you today to sharing my takeaways, big and small, throughout my decades of my journey towards sustainability, a topic that has shaped who I am today. I want to preface by saying that this is something much bigger than one person, one restaurant, or one hotel. I am myself still very much learning, evolving and adapting the way I approach sustainability in today's world with the support and knowledge of experts in the field of climate change and food systems. I might not be a scientist, but I do believe that my insight from my very own kitchen and the universe that Amber has built can contribute to a forward vision of sustainability. When it comes to creating transformational, eco-conscious changes, Amber has been a pioneer on the forefront since 2005, with some of our initiatives eventually being adopted by the entire Mandarin Oriental Hotel Group. I began to think seriously about how much further we could go, and in 2019, I had a reckoning and took the first step towards moving Amber into an even more bolder new direction. This moment was the catalyst for our new manifesto, which guides our core values and underscore the culinary philosophy and approach. It continues to guide us today and will do so tomorrow. But first, I would like to share my origin story, the environment that shaped my view of the world and my approach to food and its provenance. I was born and raised in Vlissingen, a small fisherman's village in Zeeland located in the southwest of Holland. I grew up near the seaside, a majestic force that can both give and take, and something that I inherently understood ever since I was a small child. Being below the sea level, our village constantly battled with the constant threat of flooding. We could not take anything for granted. My mother instilled in me a deep appreciation for the environment and an understanding of the relationship between food, sustainability, and responsibility. We ate exceptionally well, fresh fish sourced from the local fishermen. We picked strawberries, tomatoes, cucumbers straight from the vine. And when I was a kid, we would forage all the time. Blackberries, salicornia, wild mushrooms, herbs. My mom would give me a bucket and tell me to come back when it was full. This time, the growing up on the countryside also set my hard disk, as I call it, for how food should taste. I have lived in many places around the world, France, Mauritius, New York City to Barbados, but Hong Kong was a long-time dream of mine. It drew me with its energy, amazing skylines, and deep appreciation for food. I've called Hong Kong home for now more than 20 years, and I've seen it at its best and at its worst. When I first arrived, I grappled with the sheer emphasis on opulence and his insatiable appetite for exotic seafood and rich protein diets. I also saw the challenges of waste management and social inequality. I too was a different person 20 years ago. As a chef, I wanted to showcase everything I knew in one single plate, and I tended to overcomplicate things. But now, that has profoundly changed. I think my experience in Asia has refined me and has made my food much more subtle and to the point than it ever has been. I knew that I had to drive change to reduce our impact. My goal was to create a true sense of place in our cuisine, not through fusion, but through a deep understanding and respectful integration of Cantonese and other Asian foods. Now, at Amber, we prioritize sourcing organic, local, and regional ingredients, working predominantly with organic farms from the Hong Kong New Territory, sourcing regionally from southern China, Taiwan, and Kyushu in Japan. This ensures freshness, reduce our carbon footprint, and it supports local economies, helping to protect Hong Kong food heritage and establish thriving food networks. Nothing is sustainable, and let me explain that. As someone who has worked in the luxury hotel and restaurant industry my entire life, I know it is an impossible. But it doesn't mean that we cannot work to create pathways for sustainable methods to thrive. I agree that humans are naturally good in identifying problems and not so good in finding solutions. But I suggest that we take a glass half full approach and breaking things down into smaller, more achievable targets. So how do we, for example, reduce if waste is a problem? Then how can we prevent it? When we take a closer look at the details, why do we need? It is all about the compounding effect of all these small efforts. True sustainability may be a challenge to achieve in its absolute sense, but it is about identifying and eliminating the factors that hinder sustainable practices. By addressing these barriers, we can create a pathway towards a more sustainable future. In traditional fine dining, I spent much of my early years chasing and cooking lengthy tasting menus with butter and cream-drenched dishes. It was just not sitting right with me anymore, both physically and philosophically. I wanted food that is lighter with less protein and to contain a higher percentage of vegetables, fruits, flowers, and herbs. Of course, we are never going to be a 100% vegetarian restaurant, and that is not what we want. But we have seen a significant evolution over the years. We are moving more towards vegetables because it makes sense. Because it makes sense in our contribution to the environment, and it makes sense because we get so much access to amazing products that are vegetables. When I reopened Amber in 2019, it was like opening a new restaurant all over again. I was daunting to make that change. But I realized that we could get stuck into our own classics, and that blocks out creativity. At the time, the dogma was set to be challenged, to be more creative in the way we approach food. Food needs to evolve. There is a need for change. At its simplest, food accounts 25 to 30% of greenhouse gas emission. And as a chef, you want to play part in changing that. I would like to say that every 20 years or so, we have witnessed a big shift in how we cook. You see it in the variant trends that chefs that define the culinary world over the past few decades. And for example, we have gone in the 80s from the Nouvelle Cuisine of Europe to the molecular gastronomy of Spain, to a locavorian movement defined by the Nordic cultures. What we see now is an even more sophisticated and urgent push towards conscious dining and sustainable practices. The sustainable, organic, and local sourcing of ingredients is one of the key initiatives that sets Amber apart. Amber is one of the very few restaurants in the region that has such an extensive and comprehensive sourcing program to ensure full traceability of local, regional, organic, and more sustainable produce. This led us to rethink indulgence. Our culinary direction is about how creating dishes with a lot of thought in the menu building, ensuring it is not overindulgent, but rather a celebration of conscious choices that prioritize both pleasure and health. Our manifesto has guided a profound shift in our culinary direction. We focused on creating an indulgent dining experience that is thoughtful, yet not overly heavy. Imagine a fine dining experience that is much more holistic than simply pleasure alone. but in addition, nourishing and why not healing. We started a 3-year project to focus on fermentation, a deep dive into Asians' knowledge in the search for pure umami. We built a living library with hundreds of misos, kombuchas, and garums and vinegars. This dedication to fermentation directly links to gut health and mental well-being and ensure our guests feel energized, not weighted down. We made a conscious decision to remove dairy, excessive sodium, refined flour, and refined sugars from our menu. This wasn't just a culinary choice, it was to benefit the digestive process of the body. Our goal is to craft food for optimal assimilation, directly supporting our guests' long-term well-being and their interest in extend life through mindful eating. This approach has also led us to remove dairy from the supply chain, significantly reducing the carbon footprint and shifting our ratio to a more sustainable 35-65 ratio between animal proteins and plant-based ingredients on our menu. In fact, it is a fact that 1/3 of our carbon emissions are from our food systems, that roughly 1/3 of the foods in the world is wasted, or about 1.3 billion tons per year. In Amber, we believe that prevention is better than the cure. And in a city such as Hong Kong, where waste management and recycling infrastructure is far from ideal, we believe, therefore, that reducing waste at the source is crucial. We use circular approach with much of our food waste, diverting items, so as vegetable peelings, coffee grounds, oysters, eggshells, to our local farming partners with the purpose to enrich the soil. Our cooking oil is recycled and transformed into renewable energy by a waste oil recycling company and a fully licensed biodiesel manufacturer in Hong Kong. We eliminated glass and plastic bottles and imported waters, saving approximately 16,000 glass and plastic bottles from the landfill, an equivalent to 7,000 kilos of plastic waste in 1 year. We monitor and analyze and examine our operations daily to learn from the data, and the data that is openly shared with all our colleagues to enable a trustworthy and transparent system, creating an environment where every staff member is an advocate for doing better every day. My years of experience have shown that it's better to drive an imperfect effort with the entire team than manage perfect initiatives through a few team members. I'd like to zoom in on a particular dish that I believe is the microcosm of all I have shared with you today so far. This course we serve in Amber and heroes the elements that are important to us, from ethical sourcing to fermentation to repurposing food waste, eliminating dairy and lowering sodium. This is our kombu jjimme, toothfish with regional asparagus and lacto-fermented nut butter sauce with its roe. This dish will also be served on the gala dinner on Saturday night, so we have a little preview. So a dish with a prominent usage of vegetables, seaweeds, nuts, through creating interesting textures and intricate cooking techniques represents our effort to be less protein-centric. A beurre blanc, normally made with butter, but without butter, no cream, but using lacto-fermented nut butter, seasoned with home-fermented yuzu kushu and cured fish roe for texture, and homemade champagne vinegar for acidity. It represents our efforts to eliminate dairy. MSC certified toothfish, organic vegetables from our region, represents our effort to source ethically and with full transparency. Usage, oh, that's not mine. Usage of seaweed to eliminate moisture and also to season the fish with additional umami represents our effort to lower sodium intake. I think I went too far. Let me bring that back. Okay, that's the one. And making a garum from our fish trimming and fish bones to season the sauce while using all parts of the vegetables. Making homemade champagne vinegar from our champagne leftovers represents our effort to minimize waste. I always think back to the meaning of the word restaurant. A restaurant means to restore or to refresh. That is the definition. I believe our food should always highlight this philosophy. I want our guests to leave the table sated but light on their feet, and I believe that indulgence is no longer about overconsumption, it's about taking care of the guest and contribute to their wellness. It was always my motto that if there was a place to start this sustainability journey, Hong Kong would be the place. I look at sustainability at the glass half empty approach, because there's always so much more you can do with further optimizations and discovery constantly being made. To lead by example, we have made some very specific commitments over the years. Ethical sourcing of seafoods, organic eggs, organic meats and poultry free of growth hormones and antibiotics. These are not just internal policy, we believe in transparency. Leading up to our Green Michelin star, we prepared a comprehensive document that outlines exactly what we've been doing to be more responsible business across our social, sourcing and environmental pillars. That's what got us the Green Michelin star, by showing a comprehensive proof of our initiative and our structure. Today, that document is on our website and accessible here through the QR codes for anyone who is interested to learn more. I believe that if we show that it is possible for a 3 Michelin star restaurant that centers on indulgence to make such a strong statement on sustainability, then there is no excuse for others to avoid it. Thank you very much.
Richard, thank you. Nothing is sustainable, a very powerful thought. But up next, we will hear from Chef Professor Heinz Beck. Yes.
Living a long life makes no sense if we don't have the possibility to live our life decent. And the title of my talk today is Longev, Eat, E. And as you can see, I wanted to include the word eat, because since the very beginning of my career, I've been passionate about highlighting the powerful link between nutrition, well-being, and aging. Food isn't just something we consume. It's a powerful tool. Nutrition plays a vital role in human health and the aging process. That's why I have focused part of my work on medical scientific research to better understand the mechanism generated during food preparation and the way food interacts with our bodies, both during digestion and metabolism. Often without realizing it, we make small dietary mistakes that, if repeated over the years, it will impact our bodies, both during digestion and metabolism. Often without realizing it, and this is why we need to develop clear and accessible reference model that guide people toward better food choices, not only in a short term, but over the whole lifetime, every day and always. Because a healthy and balanced diet doesn't just help us to stay fit or maintain weight. It activates biological mechanisms that can slow down aging and prevent chronic disease. One of the most common of these diseases today is type 2 diabetic, a condition often caused by poor nutrition and linked to faster and more dangerous aging. But let me be clear, there is no perfect diet that works for everyone. We are all unique. Our dietary needs are based on genetic, metabolic, and environmental factors. Only by considering these differences, we can build truly effective, personalized, and sustainable nutrition plans that deliver real and tangible benefits. Today, bad eating habits and the growing consumption of ultra-processed food have become a serious and urgent problem, not just for individuals, but for our healthcare system and consequently for our country's economy. This is why we need a cultural and social transformation orientated towards a long-term sustainability. If we wanted to ensure future generations not only a longer life, but a better quality of life, we have to act now. We need an integrated approach that gets ahead of the problem, starting with education and communication. We must share scientific knowledge in a way that it's clear, inclusive, and accessible to all age group. So we must to start teaching children from early years on that eating healthy is not a punishment, it's a choice of well-being. And of course, alongside nutrition, we cannot forget the importance of physical activity, another fundamental pillar for a healthy life. Seeing it simple as a way to stay in shape is limiting. Exercise is an important part for our prevention. It supports brain health, heart health, and protects against many chronic and neurodegenerative disease. So how do we do? And what can we do to move towards a new reference model? Through research and to scientific studies. Let me share with you the key research project what we are doing in this very moment with our team. It's a study of postprandial oxidative stress and the role of food and recipes as modulator of inflammation response in real-life nutrition, coordinated with Mauro Serafini, professor and scientist of Food and Human Nutrition, Functional Food and Metabolic Stress Prevention Laboratory of Bioscience and Technology of the University of Teramo. We know that a diet can either cause or prevent chronic low-grade inflammation, one of the core mechanisms behind all nutritional related degenerative disease. Considering that the most scientific studies are done in isolated food extracts and not on real meals, we sought to change this and to start with a new model to analyze a real-life study based on recipes we eating and not only on nutrition. The food we are analyzing is combined, processed, and cooked. In our study, we stimulate real-life digestion and tested 30 food and 30 recipes to see how they modulate inflammation in an in vitro model. We are using 3 cellular models that includes intestinal cells, mucose-producing cells, and immune cells. We expose this system to digested food like broccoli, oranges, sausages, and pasta with tomato and basil. The results, as expected, plant-based food like broccoli, oranges showed the most anti-inflammatory effect. But interestingly, and we didn't think this, we also observed that a modest but significant anti-inflammatory response from sausages and the pasta with tomatoes, basil. And this was for us really, really strange. Once all food sample and recipes are analyzed, we will have a better understanding of how diet affects inflammation and overall health. We then will prepare a weekly food line for a group of patients and invite them to Palazzo Fiucci. It's a medical retreat where I'm working and I'm responsible for 15 different food lines, all related on medical protocols, and will submit to the group a dedicated food line for postprandial oxidative stress and anti-inflammatory diet to analyze the effect in real life. And the nice thing is over these researches we are doing over the years. This is the last one what we are doing since 20 years, researches in medical. All what we are learning, we are putting in a propositive way into our menus in all our restaurants all over. But what we are doing now with this postprandial oxidative stress research, we want to help people. So what we are doing is afterwards, we will be able to offer practical tools to nutritionists to create better guidelines and raise consumer awareness about choosing food that helps to fight inflammation. And then, of course, nobody can face this challenge alone. This is a collective mission, one that involves each and every one of us. And only by working together, each of us doing his part, we can succeed. To succeed means sharing a goal. Our goal is a life that is longer, healthier, and more fulfilling for everyone. And so I invite you to think what you are eating every day, because eating is very important to age better. And I'm happy to have been here for you, and I wish you a beautiful stay with the forum, because it's fantastic having a forum like this who is showing all of us what we can do and how we can live better. Better life, a longer life, and a better life for everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Heinz. I don't know if I should call you Chef Beck or Dr. Beck. Very impressive. Thank you for that. I'm looking forward to speaking with you in just a bit. But we now welcome back to the forum Norbert Niederkofler.
Well, thank you. It's a great honor to be back on this beautiful stage and to see that we go on really to think about what's going next. So this is also a little bit what we are thinking, that we should do think beyond nutrition. So it's not about food anymore. It's not about restaurants anymore. It's not about just consuming products anymore. It's really about going to the future, what's coming next, what should we do, what should we especially leave for the next generation, because I think we have all a responsibility for doing also this. So this is just a few things which were written on when we achieved 3 Michelin stars in 2017. But conscious consumption, it's a mindset. It's not just, as I said, it's not a chef's program. It should be a mindset for everybody. And so what is consumption? Means eating slowly, means awareness, means making intentional choices for your health, for our planet, and for all our culture and identity. So we're always trying to respect where we are, what we are doing, and why we are doing things. It goes beyond nutrition. It's about ethics, responsibility, and respect towards nature's producers, and especially ourselves. This is for a few pillars, what is very important for us. So mindfulness, being aware of what, how, why you consume, considering the impact of every purchase on health, society, and the environment. Then sustainability is really taking care of local products, of seeing where they come from, knowing the people behind, knowing the faces behind, and reducing waste and minimizing the footprint. Ethical sourcing is about knowing the people who are behind, really about what's going on, how they work the fields, how they work the land. Transparency is to find and to work especially with production who are really 100% transparent, so you can really see whatever is done, see where it comes from, and see who really does it. Then minimalism, it means only that you buy what you need. So we know that 1/3 of the products which we buy, they are going to throw away. So that's why I think this is what we have to teach the next generations, what we have to teach also maybe to go into the school and really go the next way. Health and well-being is very, very important in food. So everybody has to know what's healthy for himself, and especially also when you respect the landscape where you are, when you respect also the nature where you are from. Then waste is a big, big topic. Waste is really very important to see what we have to do, and considering that we are running out of soil in a couple of 40, 50 years. So that's why we really should start to think about what we are doing. So this means, this is the pillars where we are working on. So we are working on traditions. No, this is too far. So this is what we did with Cook the Mountain. When we started Cook the Mountain in 2008, it was a question because I started to ask the guests, why are you coming to the Dolomites? What are you looking for? Why are you coming here? And everybody said, we are coming for the nature and we are coming for the food. And so this is the reason why I started to write Cook the Mountain. And in 2008, so far ahead of the time of most of the other restaurants, and we're starting to think about food. We're starting to think about building up a really system for the terroir. So Cook the Mountain inspires considering consumption through a profound commitment to nature, environmental respect, and the cultural identity of the mountains. This philosophy merges local traditions, biodiversity, and responsibility, creating a cuisine deeply attended on the rhythm of the nature. So we depend 100% on the nature. The 4 pillars, what I did was I wrote Cook the Mountain on 4 pillars. So one pillar is we are not using any greenhouses. So no vegetable comes out of a greenhouse, which is very complicated for us, it's a lot of work for us. But it's very interesting, so you really follow the nature. We are not using any olive oil because we are 1,700 meters over the sea level, so there was no olive trees. So we had to find a substitute. We are not using any citrus because on 1,700 meters over the sea level, I didn't find any citrus trees, so that's why we avoid also citrus. So we had to find acidity. We had to work around. Because you know, food is always like yin and yang. You have to keep the balance. So sweet, sour. So that's why you need a lot of acidity. And we try to find acidity. So we work acidity now with fermentation, with fermented products. We work acidity with berries, with all things what we can find in the mountains. So it's quite complex and it's very interesting. And we have always to think 1 year ahead. So this is what we have to teach really our young chefs and to teach our team. This means that we started with tradition, because tradition is always very important, that you can grow, that you can really build up things, that you can go really beyond. So we are working on moon phase. We are working on zodiac signs. We are working with all these old traditions. So, you know, sometimes we laugh about those things, but they are real and they are there. And so this is what we try really to do. And we believe also in the 7-year rhythm on the fields, because, you know, in 7 years, when you plant every year something different on the same spot, the soil regenerates, and in the end of the day, you don't need pesticides and you don't need all those things. So at the end of the day, in 7 years, the soil is still there. Biggest problem today, as I said before, we are running out of soil. If we go on in this rhythm, what we are doing today, we have still 40 to 50 harvests left. So it is a problem. You know, we think, okay, we are 60 years old, and so we say, okay, it's not our problem anymore. But you know, we have kids, and so that's why we really should start to think about it, what we are doing, and how we treat soil, how we go on with the soil. It's very interesting is that 2/3 of the earth is water, 1/3 is soil. From the 1/3, 2/3 is mountain, because you consider mountain over 600 meters over the sea level. So mountain will be more important every year. And but like in our area, the problem for us was always 4 months per year we have nothing. So that's why you have to think ahead. Innovation means that we have to build on tradition with new concepts, with new things of how planning, things of how working with the traditions, but working with the new systems, working with new technology, working with new systems. Then constant research. This is very important, that you never stop. So we work with different Neupark, which is all about it's all about fermentation, because fermentation still is a very gray zone sometimes, especially in our area, because there's no really rules. So that's why innovation is very, very, very important, and especially research is very important. So that's why we have to open up our kitchens to the big guys out there, because we don't have the money to do those things, because we are running. That's why it's far over our budget. What we are doing, what we are built up with Cook the Mountain is around Today we work with something between 50 farmers. So we go directly, we talk directly, and we pay directly. And this means that we reduce the carbon footprint up to 50% because we source only locally. So we are not bringing around products from all over the world. What we are doing also with our products, when the products come in, we use 1/3 fresh, and the rest is getting stored for the next winter. So we do fermentation, we do freezing, we do marinating, we do all those things. Biodiversity, very, very important. So we work something between 400 to 500 different types of vegetables, wild herbs, berries, roots, and there's one missing. So this is very important. So that's why we need also people from outside. You know, we have people who are doing mycologists, because like in the mountain area, we have around 1,200 different types of mushrooms. We cannot use them all, but like we are using 50, 60 different types of mushrooms. I thought it's just porcini, truffles and this, but it's much, much more to do. And you can find almost everything, every taste. So you can find wasabi in our area, but it's not wasabi, it's from a plant. So and those are the next thing, they are very important, that the no waste. So no waste in our program is very important. We try today to do recipes where we are not creating any waste. Not that we are doing a recipe, then with the waste we try to do something. We are going on and we say, okay, we don't want to create any waste with this dish, so we use everything. This is very important for us. As I said before, you know, as also Richard said, 1.03 million tons per year products are going to be thrown away. So this is a lot of things, and this is but 600 million tons it's in private household. 230 million tons are in food industry, so in restaurants, and the rest is in shops, is in stuff like that. So that's why this is a big thing where we have to work on, and where we really should start to work on the next thing. What we are doing a lot of education. Since 2008, since we started with the program with Cook the Mountain, we teach around 40 young chefs. They are around the world now. They are really running 1-2 restaurants, 1-2 Michelin star restaurants, 1-star restaurants. God thanks, not 3-star yet, because then I have to retire. But I'm really looking forward, and I'm happy if there's someone showing up now with 3 stars. And we are having a program with the University in Bolzano with the bachelor, where we teach everything what we know. So we do all the practical part, and obviously the part from the university is done by the university. So it's a 3 years program. And we started in 2023 a program in Saudi Arabia with NEOM, and we are doing an academy there. So we are training. We have in our academy program around 120 young Saudi chefs, mostly female chefs, who were trained by us, and we follow them and we help them to really build up things in the future. Together with young people, with a young team. So in our team, in the atelier, we have around 25-30 people, but the whole team is around 70 people. We have an average age of 26. We try to help them. We really try to show them, to give them everything what we learned. What I said, what I forgot before, the number is in 3 small restaurants, we buy over 600,000 euro local products, so from the area. So this means you create also a circular economy. So this is, I leave you some images from our restaurant, and this is the last baby what we have, is the atelier. And also there for us it's very important, you know, and we are not talking about restaurant anymore here, we're talking about a house. It's a house. So when you come, you ring the bell, there's welcome home, and you are in our home, and it's your home for a couple of hours. This is all about the people who are working with us. So it's a very, very mindful, very easy, very soft working system. And as I said, you know, there's all a really young team, and we try to really help them. So there's 2 parts. The restaurant for me was always a problem, because I'm very interested also in architecture, Today, what we were doing in this restaurant was mostly working about acoustics, because a lot of restaurants in the world, they have a really bad acoustic. We worked a lot about light, because never in the whole restaurant you have to use your phone that you can read the menu or you can read the wine list. So it's really all about this. It's a system about music. It's really all, especially also to protect the heritage, because the building is completely protected by heritage. So we had to really work around to see what they do, and yeah. But it's a great feeling there, and we have a 7,000 square meter park. So you're right in Brunico, in the heart of Brunico, and it's really nice. So thank you very much. This is what we can share about this subject from the Dolomites. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And at this time, I'd like to invite to the stage the Director of Gastronomy and co-founder of the forum, Reto Mathis.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, chefs. I think it's really impressive to see, I speak in the name of the whole audience here, that what you're doing, what you dedicate yourself for, and how difficult, and also I think you met a lot of challenges doing that. So, because if you're speaking about Michelin star level, up to 15, 20 years ago, I think it wouldn't have been possible to achieve 3-star accolade with the concept that you are featuring now. So they also improved a lot, I must say, and this is also good in the general interest of all the consumers and all the guests.
Reto, welcome to the hot seat. Take a seat.
Hot seat.
So, Reto, you've gone from leading the culinary scene here in St. Moritz to now co-creating this global platform that brings together chefs on a mission. What was behind this shift? And what role do you see fine dining playing in shaping a healthier, more ethical food landscape?
Well, I didn't get bored to say so, to do that. It was a decision that I took several years ago. I mean, my passion, as you said, is the culinary heritage we have here in St. Moritz over the last 50 years. International clients, international demands, all these different aspects we have to take into consideration, products as well. As you mentioned before, we had a small talk. I used the most of berries, fresh berries I used in the month of January, where you can see it's full of berries in the valley. So this starts to trigger somehow a mindset that somehow it's contradictory. You know, we say, okay, the client pays for it and they want this product, so we have to supply it. But on the other hand, it leaves kind of a thought, an afterthought in you, and say, is it really necessary? Is it really necessary? And can there be not an alternative to find in the products, in the offer, and to make the clientele at the same time more sensitive to these changes? And that came to me because a meal, as you know, is something that you want to celebrate. It's a comfort. It's an experience. It's a nice moment. But I think we can bring this feeling onto another level if we are more conscious and introducing more ethical values, climate-related, carbon footprint related, to keep the product even more, to give it even more value and a better feeling while consuming it. I think this is the main reason that I took this, not this way. I mean, I'm far away from being a prophet in this, but I see the potential and I see the necessity also for that.
Well, we're grateful that you did. And, you know, most of us traveled to be here, and that can really knock you out of your routines. I want to know, how do you eat well when the circumstance is less than perfect? Does anyone have any in-flight rituals or maybe a go-to meal that you can share with us? What did you eat today?
I'm a very disciplined eater, and I'm trying to balance a lot of exercise into my daily routine. I start in the morning with exercise. Very often I run to work, and that means in Hong Kong that you need to cross the mountain as well, because I live on South Island. So I cross the mountain every morning. It's a 15K run, and then I start my day. In general, I have an AG1 shake after my run, and then to make sure that I have all my important nutrients, and then I have a very light breakfast. In general, I do not breakfast before 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And that's in general some soaked oats or some yogurt.
So no matter where you are, you try to
I
stick
will
to
always
this
keep to
routine.
the same routine.
Okay.
Yes.
Anybody else? Who eats on an airplane?
Never.
Okay, never. What about you, Heinz?
Drinking a lot.
Drinking a lot, water.
Hydrating.
Okay, and Norbert, yourself?
Sleeping.
Sleeping. Okay, so you're avoiding eating also. Okay, Norbert. Actually, I want to ask you, for those of us who live in urban jungles and not the Dolomites, from a very practical standpoint, how do we incorporate Cook the Mountain at home and in our own communities?
Well, we are working on a project in Milano, and the project in Milano is at the ethical hour. So we take everything which is 1.5 hours around Milano. So we try always to do like this, and you have beautiful gardens, you have beautiful markets now in the cities. Usually you find really local markets, and really to go there. There's a lot of people, they say, well, it's too expensive. But when you think it the other way around, what I said before, when you buy really just what you need, and you don't throw away anything, because we know that in private households around 30-50% is going to be thrown away. So if you spend 20% more and you don't throw away anything, you still saved money. So this was very important. And just to go back one thing to say, 2017 Michelin took a very brave decision, to give us 3 Michelin stars, because we were the first restaurant with a completely sustainable concept to get 3 stars. This means that they saw that a big change is coming, and this helps a lot for young people, because when you respect the nature around you, nevertheless where you are, we showed young people that you can go 3 stars, and this means that you maintain the culture by a place, you maintain the tradition by a place, and you maintain the roots, and the roots are very important for the future. And we opened up a restaurant. We were working on a restaurant concept in Saudi Arabia, on Neom, on Sindala Island. And the objective was to get the restaurant run with 50% products from Saudi Arabia. We achieved to run the restaurant with 80% from Saudi Arabia products. And so this means that you have to be flexible, that you have to be, what is very important, that you have a very good base on knowledge on cuisine, so the classic base, which is very important, but then to be open-minded and really to see what you can find and really work around there. And so this is quite interesting.
So Heinz, you're actually very famous for bringing advanced tools into your kitchen, like a lab-grade centrifuge. I understand one of the latest scientific gizmos is a rotary evaporator, which our scientists in the room know is used in labs to remove solvents from samples. Okay, what do you use this for at La Pergola?
Okay, what we are doing, using technology to prepare always better and more healthy food. So when you're saying we are using a high-speed centrifuge, yes, you're right. Because during dinner, we are bringing a lot of functional food or functional preparations to our dishes. So when we start, for example, in the menu we have now, one of the very first dishes will have a chicory oil, what we are doing. So what we are doing, when we prepare the oil, the chicory is put into an ultrasound water bath for 25 minutes, 25 degrees, to break the molecules. So when we make the oil and we are mixing the oil with the vegetable, we put it afterwards in a high-speed centrifuge to divide by specific weight. So the oil is less heavy, goes on the top, and takes with the oil not only the color and the flavor, but all micronutrients. So it's very rich on polyphenol, antioxidants, and vitamins. And the fact that we are at first passing it in an ultrasound water bath, we're breaking all the molecules, and this is helping us to extract better. Of course, this is one of the points, but we are making a lot of other things when we are doing essences, for example, basil essence, you see. So we're taking the basil leaves, no water, no nothing. We are putting it into the
The rotary.
not the water, at first the ultrasound
Yes.
to break the molecules with no water, with nothing. Then we put it in the rotations distillator, no water, and we distillate out of the leaves the cell activity. The cell activity of the leaves is very rich on nutrients, but it's really, really flavorful. And then you have to fix it quickly because it's very volatile and it will go away immediately. But we are doing a lot of other things as well. We are doing a lot of freeze drying, for example, with the different systems of freeze drying.
Oh, it's fascinating. Actually, I wanted to ask about another Michelin star chef, a Swiss chef, Daniel Homm of 11 Madison Park. He recently announced he's reintroducing meat to his menu after years of being plant-based. Economic pressures were cited as one of the reasons. Richard, I wanted to get your thoughts on this news.
Yeah, I was very disappointed because I talked to Daniel about the move at the time, and I said to him, if there would be a place in the US it would work, it would be either New York or LA. And that it didn't work is shocking. But yeah, the economic pressure, high rents, high overheads of running a restaurant, not having your wine sales that are often sort of associated with eating his famous lavender duck, for example, you know, those sales went away, and that made his restaurant, you know, less financially viable. So it's a pity. I think he was significantly ahead of his time, and I think, you know, other opportunities will come when I think the market will be more mature, people have more knowledge, understanding that it is not necessarily not indulgence to eat vegetables. I think Vegetable Kingdom is probably one of the most inspirational kingdoms to work with, because the animal kingdom is very limited to what we eat, unless we go start to eat zebras and giraffes and so on. But we eat pretty much the same animal proteins. And then the plant kingdom, it's pretty much, even hearing Norbert saying the amount of mushroom varieties he has access to and still defining what is usable in his restaurants is incredible. So I think in terms of texture, shape, flavor, smell, the vegetable kingdom is much more interesting. So I think from a chef's perspective, at least mine, I prefer to work with vegetables. But we are attached to economic realities, and the same for us in Hong Kong. We never wanted to be a vegan restaurant or a vegetarian restaurant because it is not economically viable. Hong Kong is among the largest consumer of animal proteins in the world. Hong Kong is, as a city, the largest consumer of Amazonian beef and Amazonian poultry, and then we wonder, why are we burning the forest? So everything is interconnected in a way. We are the largest consumer of seafood in the world. We're consuming about 79 kilos per capita in Hong Kong. So we have to change the amount of animal proteins we are eating, and we are trying to do our part in our restaurant.
So very quickly, what would you say to an operator sitting in this room today who's intrigued by all your philosophies but afraid of the financial risk?
Well, a restaurant is always a financial risk. It's not the most profitable operation. You need a lot of passion, first of all, to keep it going. Restaurants can be financially viable if it's the right location, the right concept, the right price. There's a sensitive space. But it is, not every restaurant is a success, but that's the same with many other businesses. You know,
So you might as well
there's no
take a
guarantee.
chance with something ethical and sustainable, because why not?
I think it fits the future, you know,
Yes.
to work much more conscious within your operations. I think it's a prerequisite today to open a restaurant and to operate ethically, transparently, making also sure that on a social basis the staff is remunerated, that overtime is paid out, and so forth. That becomes very complicated.
Well, when I sit back and I look at the four of you, I see everything we need to impact nutrition and health on a global scale. So we have science, sustainability, an intentional approach, and a visionary who is expert at bringing people together. So if an organization like the WHO or the UN came to this group and asked to collaborate on advancing nutrition and sustainability worldwide, what would you say?
Absolutely. That's something that I'm very interested in. Already, I work with various universities in Hong Kong. I'm very involved with education. It is key for me at my age also to give back and to share my knowledge and to influence curriculum within institutions. So the partnerships already exist. I do various guest speakings at university on a monthly basis, so I'm very involved. We work on study projects together.
So that's one commitment. We have one yes.
Absolutely.
Heinz?
Of course, you know, the future is important for everybody of us. And to run the future in a better way, we have to communicate in a proper way. And this communication has to start with somebody where people is looking to. And if you're a qualified person, you can share a lot of your knowledge in order to make people live better and eat more perfect. Because by eating in a perfect way, we can avoid a lot of disease, or we can age much, much better, because to become old, everybody wants to become old, but we want to become old in a proper way, so that we don't need help from other bodies. And during eating, if we are eating in the right way and we are communicating in the right way, I think people will do better. I would be more than happy to share my knowledge and help wherever I can. And I'm doing this, of course, because I'm teaching in schools and I'm making a lot of research, and I make, not very often, but panels like this sometimes.
And then Norbert?
Well, I think it's what I said before, you know, we have to go out, to think out of the box. We have to stop to think just in the restaurant. So the restaurant has to be, has to be financial sustainable, because this is, when you talk about sustainability, also this is very important. So we have 3 restaurants, and we have no investors, we have no sponsor, and we are sustainable. And this is, I'm very proudful of this. And this is also what we share with our team. But obviously we have to put things together. We have to go with big guys. We have to go with the big universities. We have to go with bigger organizations to change the world. To change the world, especially for the next generations, and I mean, we messed it up. We messed it up. So we should really start to think to give it back.
On that very hopeful note, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it right there. Gentlemen, it was an honor to help guide this discussion. Reto, thank you so much for this gift. And I hope you all enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. And if your only takeaway was that miso is good for you, well, that's still a win in my book. But if something you heard today inspired you, then act on it. The truth is, the future of food is being written by all of us. And the folks that can help make it real, they're sitting right next to you. So with that, thank you all very much. And let's hear it for the dream team.